Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Chine. If this is your first time seeing my video, you're welcome, and if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for being here. In today's video, I'll be taking you guys through the process of making this dress. I made this dress for my sister's birthday, so I decided to film the entire process. If you're interested in learning how I made this dress, please keep watching and don't forget to subscribe. For this tutorial, I'll be using 3 yards of cotton fabric. You can actually use crepe if you feel cotton fabric is too strong for you. Then I'm also using 1 yard of chantilly lace. 1 yard will be enough for any size, so you can buy 1 yard of chantilly lace. Then of course I'm using my pattern paper, my ruler and my tape. For the benefit of some of the beginners here, I'm going to start the drafting from the beginning. So let's get into it. Here are some of the measurements I'll be using for this dress. So to start drafting, I'll get the measurements of the dress, that's from the shoulder to where the basque will stop. So I have 24 inches, so I'll just mark it, then I'll draw a straight line. The next thing I'll be doing is to divide my bust measurement by 2. So after dividing it by 2, I'll divide it again by 2, so that one part will be for the front and the other part will be for the back. I've gotten the front and the back here. The next thing I'm going to do is to start repeating my measurement. So I'll get my shoulder to bust point, my shoulder to under bust, and shoulder to half length. I'll just mark them and I'll get a straight line. The next thing I'm going to do is to get my chest line. So to get the chest line, you divide your bust measurement by 6 and add 1.5. So I'll get the chest line and I'll also get the shoulder. My shoulder measurement is 7. Then the width of my shoulder will be 3.5 for the depth. So I'll just mark them, then I'll use my ruler to connect. Then my chest line is 7.5. I'll also mark it, then I'll use my ruler to connect. I'll get the armhole. Now to get the armhole, you have to divide this straight line by 2, then come in by 0.65, then use your ruler to connect. Now for the back, I'm also going to get the shoulder, the neckline. For the neck depth, I'm using 1 inches, and for the width, I'm using 3 inches. I'll use my ruler to connect both the front and the back armhole. Then the next thing I'll do is to get my dart. Now for the dart, I'm going to be using 3.5. I'm going to be using 3.5 for the front and 3.5 for the back. So from the bust point, I'll measure 3.5, then I'll draw a straight line. Then on the half length, I'll measure 0.5 on both sides of the line. Then I'll just connect. Then I'll proceed to the back. Now for the back, I always come in by 0.5 on the half length to avoid zip bulge. So I will just do the same thing I did for the front. I'll do the same thing for the back. At this point, I'll start repeating my measurement. I'll divide my bust measurement by 4. I'll divide the waist and the hip by 4. Then I'll mark them and I'll use my ruler to connect the lines. So after this is the basic bodice. If you want a full tutorial of how to draft a basic bodice, I'll put the link in the description box. So the next thing I'll do is to alter this basic bodice into the MILKMAID dress I want to make. The center front from the chest line, I'll measure 0.5. Now I'll measure this 0.5 all the way to the full length. Then I'll use my ruler to get a straight line. You can actually start this 0.5 from the depth of the neck, but I just chose to start from the chest line. After drawing the straight line, I'm going to get a new neckline. So from the shoulder, I'm going to mark 6.5. I don't want this dress to show my cleavage, so 6.5 is fine. You can decide to make yours 7 inches. So after getting that line, on the side of the armhole, I'm going to come in by 1 inch. Then I'm going to connect the line to the side of the neck. After drawing the slant line for the neck, I'm going to work on the bust area. This dress is a MILKMAID dress. I'm going to show you guys how to work on the bust area. On one side of the dart, I'm going to connect a cuff to the top of my neckline. I'll also do the same thing for the other side. After getting the bust area, on the half length, I'm going to come down by 2 inches. Then I'll connect it to the center front. That will give me the basque effect. I'm done with the front here. The next thing I'm going to do is to do the same thing for the back. So on the back, on the half length of the back, I'm also going to come down by 2 inches. Then I'll connect to the center back. I'm done drafting the front and the back. The next thing I'll be doing now is to cut out the pattern pieces. Then I'll place it on my fabric and cut. After cutting out the front, on the front pattern, I'm going to fold in my dart. Folding in the dart is very important because on the front part of the dress, you're not going to see any dart lines. So I'm going to fold in my dart. I'll use sellotape to close it up. Then I'll go in with my ruler to reshape the bust part. After reshaping the bust part, this is what my front pattern looks like, and the other side is the back. So if you're able to get this pattern to this point, then the dress will come out well. For the back part, I'm just going to sew the dart. I'm not closing up the dart for the back, so please take note. So the next thing I'm going to do is to work on the cup. So I'm going to measure 1 inch, then I'll draw straight lines. I'm going to use the slash and spread method to increase the size of the cup. Just watch what I'm doing closely. This part is very easy to understand. So after using your tape to sellotape it to another paper, all you need to do is to cut it out. So it's very easy. I'm going to place it on my fabric and cut exactly the same thing. I'm going to add ½ inch on all the sides. So the first thing I did is I placed the pattern on a plain black fabric, that's on the cotton fabric. Then I placed it on the chantilly lace and I cut exactly the same thing. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to cut the remaining parts of my patterned pieces. Then I'll show you guys how to sew this beautiful dress. So just pay attention to the video, do exactly what you see me doing, and your dress will come out very perfectly. Last part of the cutting, I'm trying to get the gathers part. So what I did is I subtracted 24 inches from the full length of my dress. The full length of my dress is 46, so I just subtracted 24 inches from it, which is the bodice part. I really hope this is not confusing. You can go to the beginning and check the full length of my dress. The full length of my dress is 24.46, so I just subtracted 24 from the length. So it's time to sew this dress. The first thing I'm going to do is to work on the cup. There are 2 different ways you can work on the cup. The first one is you can actually pleat it into the dress, or the second way is you can run a gather stitch, then drag it and make sure it fits exactly where it's supposed to be. So I'll be going for the second one. I've gone ahead to run the gather stitch, and this is what I have. To determine how much pleats you need on top, you can simply try to measure the top part of the bust area. I'll just drag it and make sure it fits that top area. I'll go ahead and do the same thing for the other side. I'll make sure it fits the curved part of the cup. I'm taking my time to do this so that all the sides will be equal. So when you're sewing yours, you need to take your time. So I'll just go ahead and do the same thing for the other side. I'll go to my sewing machine and sew the cup. Then I'll show you guys how to fix a rope to this dress. So I'm done fixing the cup here, and I left ½ inch on top and beside. For the length of my rope, I'm going to be using 2 inches for the width and 20 inches for the length. You can choose to use more than 20 inches. It all depends on how long you want the rope. So from the back of the cup, I'm going to sew it, then I'll turn it to the front and stitch it down. I'll stitch it until I get to the end of the rope. So after stitching it, this is exactly what I have. I left 1/2 inch on top. I'm going to be joining my lining. So this is what my rope looks like. The next thing I'm going to do now is to join the lining. Now for the lining part, you need to be very careful when you're fixing the lining. So I'll start from the center. I'll go ahead and sew the center first. Then I'll go ahead and sew the inside. So after sewing the inside, this is what you should have. So this is the inside of the dress. The joining of the lining is from the inside, so this is what it looks like. On the side of the armhole, as you can see, I left 1/2 inch on top. Let me quickly turn it to the front so you understand exactly what I mean. So this is the front part of this dress, and on the side I left 1/2 inch. So I'm going to be joining the armhole side right now. Before joining the armhole side, you're going to use the black plain fabric to turn the lace, then just go ahead and join to the front part of the dress. Now this is what it looks like after joining it. I had to join it from inside. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to do now is to work on the back. For the back of the dress, I'm going to sew the neckline, then I will sew up the darts. After doing that, I'll just fix the zip. I'll quickly go to my sewing machine and do that. Then I'll show you guys what it looks like. This is the back of the dress. The next thing I'm going to do now is to join the front and back shoulder. So I'm done joining it here. I had to join it inside out. The next thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to join the sleeves, then I'll close the front and back. The last part of the dress will be joining of the gathers. So I'll just join the sleeves and show you guys. Now I'm done joining the sleeves here. I'm yet to upload a tutorial on how to draft a basic sleeve. I'll do that very soon. I also went ahead to join the sides of the dress. The last thing I'm going to be doing now is to join the gathers part of the dress. The first thing I did is to sew a loose stitch. Then I had to pull it until I got the desired gathers that I needed. Then I went ahead to join to the dress. For the joining of the gathers part, I had to start from the front. I needed to make sure the gathers was enough on the front. I had to join more of the fabric so that the dress will be full. So this is the finished result. If you have any question, you can ask me in the comment section. This is the end of this tutorial. I hope you learned something. Please give this video a thumbs up and turn on the notification bell so that anytime I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.